Hello everyone, it's Bradley here, and I thought I'd introduce my new series of videos here on my YouTube channel of how I made my model airport. I'm just starting a new project for a UK based airport. It's going to be roughly around 130 centimetres by 80 centimetres. So still a diorama size, but of a decent size. And the plan is to have a terminal scratch built, a taxiway and around 9 gates servicing the terminal, servicing a wide variety of aircraft, some that you can see here, not necessarily the airlines that we fly in, but certainly the aircraft types that I'm using here to gauge sizes. So let's take a look. So the first thing I like to do when planning a model airport is take pen to paper, take a note of the size of the board itself, and then see what you can best fit in that space. Once that's done, once you've got a general sort of idea of how you'd like your airport to look, I then put the board down, lay it down, get some models out that I'd like to use on the airport. So here I've got some A320s to represent some narrow bodies. I've got a 787 and an A330 just for some wide bodies, and then we've got this super jumbo, the A380 as well, just because I would like a couple of gates to be able to accommodate that. So that one's out as well. Just to the right here as well, I've got some jet bridges, the JC version, and some Gemini jets ones, just to see which will fit in the space the best, depending on what plans I come up with. But then, as you can see here on the board, I take some masking tape and measuring out all the stands and taxiways, just put some masking tape down to represent where those stands, taxiways, and then here on to the right, the terminal building itself will be. Just really to get a feel of how everything will fit on the board, and then that way you can get the models out, lay them down, and if you're not quite happy with it, want to make any amendments, you just peel up the masking tape and then make those alterations. So that's certainly useful for stand widths and lengths and things like that, depending on what you're going for. Here I'm trying to model some Mars stands, so I'll be able to either have 2 narrow bodies or 1 wide body on, and I'm just taking a look at how the jet bridges will best fit, just so they don't get in the way of the wide body itself when that's on stand, but still be able to service both narrow bodies. So that's my first stage. Once that's done, once I'm happy with it, I then make sure I've got a copy of all the measurements on a piece of paper. So make sure you always have everything written down, just when you start moving things around, and especially when you start painting, you'll be able to refer to them should you need to. And then once I'm happy with everything, we will start to draw the stand layout onto the board itself in pencil. So now we've moved on to the next step. I've taken up all the masking tape from the board and then started penciling the taxiway. So as you can see at the moment, I've only penciled on the taxiway, and then all this section here will be painted in a light grey, and then we'll have a slightly darker grey painted for the taxiway. So for the next job, I will need to use the frog tape just to taxi up this edge here of the taxiway, and then paint this section. Once that's dried, then we're going to taxi both sides, tape up both sides of the taxiway, and then paint the taxiway, and we'll move on to putting down the airport markings itself. So to start with, I thought I'd show you the paint tools that I'm using to paint up the airport, and how I went about selecting my colours. But first of all, we've just got a a basic dust sheet and decorating sheet just to put down to stop the paint getting on the floor. So I would recommend something like that, or just use an old, an old towel, an old sheet or anything like that. Just anything that's to get the paint away. Tried and tested frog tape. Highly recommend this stuff. It is incredible compared to regular masking tape. And then just a basic cheap roller to use for this project to roll the paint down for ones that don't have the rollers and the testers. So obviously, depending on what size airport you have, what space, I only have this small diorama area, so I tend to go for tester paints just to keep the cost down and more manageable, rather than buying a £10–15 big tin of paint and only needing this sort of amount. So I've got a few colours here, and for this area I'm going to need to paint the taxiway, which you can see here, going all the way along, and then we've got the ramp section here as well. So traditionally, looking at some images on Google Earth, taxiways tend to be a little darker than the ramp. The ramp's a little lighter, and of course the runways are usually asphalt, quite a dark colour, or as far as black, depending on where you are. So here we've got some testers, and I really like these ones because they come with the roller. Just roll them down, and they apply really well. So these are quite useful little testers. So these are rich black, so these won't be suitable for this project, but certainly one that includes a runway. These are what I'll be using them for. And then next up we've got some greys, and so they're all very similar, especially on camera there. This one, this natural slate, is a little darker, so that's actually the one I'm going to go for painting this taxiway. And then these will be used in a future project. And then lastly, we also have two greys, as you can see here. Again, I'm not too sure how well you'll see them on camera. Then we've got a granite stone here, and then just a shoreline grey. Shoreline grey is a tad lighter than the granite, so just to complement the slate, I'm going to go for the shoreline grey for the apron ramp, and then the natural slate on the taxiway, just to distinguish the two there. So they're the two that we're going for. Perfect. So like I say, these are the two colours we're going for, and they're only testers, but I can assure you they will be more than enough for this little section. So just give you an idea of the size of the board. It's around 130 centimetres by 80 centimetres, so it's a reasonable size, but by no means it's not a full-size airport. And then just to recap, to be able to apply this, I've just got a really basic roller set just to be able to apply the paint. Honestly, nothing special, but it does the job. Like I said before, we've got the frog tape, and then this is just a dust sheet. You'll be able to pick these up from most DIY stores, and most multi-purpose stores as well, and supermarkets do sell a lot of the DIY stuff and paint these days. So there's no shorter places where you'll be able to find these. So let's start painting. So I've just completed the first coat for the ramp area in the shoreline grey. So that is just drying in as it bonds to the board. Once that's nice and dry, we're going to give it a second coat just to make sure it's all nice and smooth. And then we'll pull up the frog tape. So the next section is this nice part here, and we're going to paint up the taxiway. And for that, I'm using one of these roller testers from Dulux, and it's natural slate. So let's get started. So that's the ramp and taxiway base coats all completed, and that pretty much wraps up this first airport update as we start to make a little bit of progress. For my next video, I'm going to be looking at the markings on the taxiway and on the ramp itself. Just ordered the pens to complete that, so just waiting for them to arrive. I've also got this unpainted area here in the top left corner. I've got some exciting plans for that area as well. If you do have any ideas what that might be, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you've got any ideas or suggestions, what you thought to the progress so far, I'd love to hear what you think. And I will see you in the next update. Thank you very much for watching.